Spoilers.
This is a podcast where we take movies and twist the plot to see if we can make them better, and if not, more fuel injected.
At the moment, we're talking about teen movies from the 80s.
On this episode, Christine from 1983.
I'm Emma, and God, I hate rock and roll.
I'm Anders, and it just seems like nobody likes my car these days. They used to, and now they don't.
Interesting. Can I make some suggestions as to why that is?
I'm all ears. Or I'm all gears.
I'm all gears. Wow. Your car's weird, dude. You, yeah, sorry. Somebody had to tell you. Your car's weird.
What's weird about it?
The seats are pretty uncomfortable.
That's fair.
And the radio doesn't get good reception. There's also the killing people thing, but it's mostly the uncomfortable seats. So we're going to take my car on the road trip, if that's okay.
Yeah, yours got those bucket seats, and you've got all those cool mixtapes.
Yeah, right? It's got that thing in the back where you have the CD selector, and it selects the CDs automatically for you. It also hasn't killed anyone, so...
Two things. One, wrong decade. It's a tape player. Or an 8-track if it's an old thing. And second... Some cars murder. Mine might.
Yes.
Yours might. The Christine. Some cars are murder cars. Big deal. You know.
Deal.
But the real bad people in the world are not your car or my car. They are the 1%, right?
The company that made the car is the real bad guy. So this film, Christine. It's a film about a car. As you might have guessed.
Oh, yeah.
From Baby.
Vroom, vroom.
I'll go ahead and do a little summary if that's all right with you.
It is absolutely acceptable. Please, and thank you. Give us a summary.
Thank you so much. Christine, it's from 1983 and it's super, super 80s.
So
it's
80s.
based on, it's like so 80s, bro. It's based on a Stephen King novel and it's directed by John Carpenter, who we know off of Scary Films. It's about a guy who is kind of nerdy. His name is Arnie. He has a friend who is much cooler than him called Dennis. We know that Arnie is not very cool because he has, primarily because he has glasses, right?
Because he has glasses.
He also does #take the glasses off in this one, so that was nice.
Yeah, he does.
Starting to feel some familiar territory there. But yeah, he looks like a nerd. He has a kind of slightly nerdy sense of humor. He's not very confident. Dennis, however, is on the football team. So
he's like the quarterback or something.
Therefore,
or whatever.
Obviously, super cool guy. We're not entirely sure as to why these two are friends, I think is fair to say, but they are. So.
They're like best friends for no reason.
They're going to school. There, we see them in their school environment. We get the deal. Arnie's not cool. Dennis is cool. He also gets bullied a lot, Arnie, by this gang of guys. One of them pulls a knife on him, and that's pretty extreme. The two boys are out driving, and they drive past a car which is rusty and old in a field. It's in someone's house, isn't it? And it's a 1958 Plymouth Fury. Now, we know this car because we saw it in the first 10 minutes of the film. We saw it back in 1957 being made.
Hella murdering people.
Yeah, it was in like a production line and there was lots of beige cars and then there was this one red car that stood out and then it killed some people. And we were like, it's that one. Oh my god. So this car is just like sitting in somebody's house. Arnie decides to buy it. The guy who currently owns it is very creepy. It was also the grandfather from Home Alone.
I know, wasn't that so exciting?
The neighbor.
Wasn't it so exciting? It's the old man. It's the old man with the shovel and the salt. And it turns out he just wants to talk to his grandson. He doesn't know how to talk to his son because of an argument. I know he's supposed to be a scary guy in Christine, but the whole time it sounds like I was just thinking, it's old man Myrtle from Home Alone.
But Home Alone wasn't out yet, so we wouldn't have known that if chronologically.
Right.
So he's there. There's like a weird backstory to do with his brother. And what essentially happens is that whilst Arnie is working on Christine, because he decides to do the car up, he starts to form this kind of toxic relationship with it.
Right.
Christine is able to magically fix itself and repair any damage, and this becomes obvious over time because Arnie's able to fix it up to like a ridiculous extreme. He kind of starts to get very possessive over it as well. So if anyone makes any kind of comments about Christine, he gets very defensive. And he also starts to become kind of a cool kid. So we have the snap the glasses moment, although I don't know if he actually snaps them, but he does take them off. He does his hairstyle really cool as well. He looks kind of like a 50s greaser. He starts going out with the coolest girl in the school. But the problem is that this car is just so possessive of him that it starts to kind of get jealous of his girlfriend. And we know this because it's communicating through playing songs on the radio. At one point, the gang of guys come and beat up the car as well. They like destroy it, and then it repairs itself magically. Eventually, it starts to feel like the car has a personality, and Dennis realizes that something needs to be done to end this relationship. And there's eventually a big showdown with in a garage, and the car gets crushed by a big digger thing. Yeah. There's some really kind of, I guess you could say, iconic moments and imagery in it as well. Like the car is on fire, driving down a highway, chasing someone.
So awesome.
There's
really
like
awesome.
The really cool moment where the car is chasing one of the bullies because also it can drive itself. And all the windows are blacked out, so you can't see who's driving it. And it's really creepy. It's a very kind of stylized, interesting looking car as well. So that kind of personality really does shine through. It's not very gory, I would say. It's classified as a horror film. I didn't find it particularly scary or gory or horrifying. It's definitely suspenseful. I'd call it more of a. I mean, again, I'm ruined by violent video games and all that.
Hey, I don't like scary movies, right? I can never watch Pet Sematary again.
Again, you watched it. You watched it once.
Pet Sematary? I've seen it a couple times. We used to watch it.
What?
We used to watch it to freak ourselves out. Me and my friends, and they'd go, and then you remember the guy's like, each bears his own, and then the kid comes back to life. I can't watch it now. Not now. But when I was younger, I thought I could, and I couldn't watch it then. But also, but what I'm saying is, I know I don't like scary movies. This movie wasn't that scary.
No.
Guess what? Hey, guess what? Hey, everybody who died from the car, get off the road, because it's a car.
Here's my thing that annoys me all the time in stuff like this. It's when something starts moving towards someone and they run away from it, but they run away in a straight line or like directly away.
I know!
Like, just run to the side. It wasn't until right at the end Lee thinks to run just to the side because the car can't turn quickly enough to just get her. Whereas everyone else just runs in a straight line. It's like, that's the whole thing with cars. Acceleration in a straight line is what they're good at.
It's a freaking car, right? It's like, it's a car, okay? It's like how when birds get eaten by an alligator or something, right? And you think, you've got wings.
Just go.
Just fly and you won't get eaten. Like, you're a bird, okay? A car is chasing you, okay? Go run up the hill. Yeah. Oh, no, he might drive up the hill. Won't be able to get through this telephone pole.
Go into water.
Go into water for free.
Get in a lake.
If a car was chasing me, even a possessed, self-healing car like Christine, I'm pretty sure I could get away from it. You know why?
Up the stairs.
I go up the stairs. What are you going to get me?
The Dalek rule, yeah.
Hey, Christine.
What are you going to do?
Oh, I know you're super mad because I'm not your boyfriend, the guy who drives this car. But you're not going to murder me because you're also a car. You know what, though? Actually, can I just say that tone that I've just taken, both comedic and also insightful, I think we can all agree.
Yeah, great.
It probably glazes over or maybe makes the listener, hi listener, might make you think that I thought this movie was rubbish. Turns out, I thought this movie was kind of cool.
Yeah, nice.
Right? And I will say, having never heard of it or seen it, or heard of the book, or read it, I thought it was kind of cool. And I'm not just saying that because it came out in 1983, and I also came out in 1983. I thought this movie was interesting. I thought it was kind of funny and I was like winking at a horror kind of thing.
Hmm.
And I liked it. I have problems with it, but I liked it. What
Yeah,
did you?
same.
What do you think? Same.
Sorry. Yeah. Same.
Problems,
Same.
but you
liked
liked
it, but had problems with it. I guess so I did know about this film before actually. Because this is such a weird reason.
Because you're a film nerd, right? Is
that
why?
No. You remember there's an episode of Friends where Rachel and Jerry watch Cujo?
Yes.
Well, because I'm a fan of the television show Friends. So I was really curious about this film. So I went and watched the film Cujo.
Okay.
Because they watched it. Because I wanted to see if it was scary. It is pretty scary, actually.
Right.
But I really liked it. And so I looked up other films that were based on Stephen King books. Because Cujo is also based on a Stephen King book.
Yes, it is.
And this was one of them. So
that's
I guess you could say that's because I'm a film fan, but it's actually because of Friends. That's one of my lesser intellectually
you'll say something smart soon, don't worry about it.
Towards something. Yeah, it'll be fine. I'm a big fan of like Gothic things anyway. Like I love the Gothic genre and always have.
Cathedrals and gargoyles and flying buttresses,
black eyeliner, yeah,
and the punk rock music and
all of that.
And that thing where you put safety pins in your leather jacket.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
think this stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Like Daphne du Maurier and stuff like that. And I think this definitely kind of has a lot of references to that. I feel like this is basically, it's kind of a vampire movie, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the car is the vampire, which is like, it's supernatural. It kind of appears every now and again and stalks people and often see it at night, and it has a specific set of rules that you need to get it. It's the same. All stories are the same. Everything's a stock story. It's the same. Like you said, there are problems with it. I think some of my problems are, it's not as scary as I wanted it to be. It wasn't as gory as I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be a bit more, like the death to be a bit more like.
You wanted more. You wanted more blood. You are a blood.
I did. I wanted blood. I was hungry for blood.
Yeah. So sue me.
Stuff like the guy you hear about a guy getting cut in half by the car.
Show me a guy getting cut in half.
You don't see any of it. I don't necessarily want to see every flipping, nerves snapping or whatever, but like you just see him going and then it cuts, and it's been like, oh, okay. I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like it meant that the threat wasn't very high. It's almost like you're being told about things rather than seeing them. I don't know. Yeah, I felt a bit underwhelmed in that regard. That was one of my problems. I think the other problem that I had with it was I feel like the tension and the mystery around the car could have been more intriguing. I'd love to read the book. I haven't read the book. I'd love to read the book and see if that is more of a thing. But I just felt like it was quite obvious quite quickly. Yeah. However, that could be because this film is so often referenced in other
all
things.
The time. Well, listen, the thing is, I said I've never seen Christine, right? Up until yesterday, never seen this movie. But when I'm watching it, I'm like, I've seen references to this movie all over the place.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? There's a great episode of Futurama. I'm sure it tells people a lot about my whole life, that like most of the things that I've learned about pop culture and also I've learned a lot of smart things and also a lot of like insignificant, not important pop culture things from The Simpsons and Futurama, okay? And Christine is definitely amongst them. So there's an episode of Futurama called The Honkening, right? Season 3, wherein Bender gets turned into a vampire car, a were car, turns him into a bad car that murders people. And the original were car is basically Christine, and the whole thing is like it's a car that kills people. And also, you ever watch The Simpsons much? Snake, who's the he's the bad guy, right? So yeah. Oh no.
Oh no,
premium,
bruh.
dude, premium, right? So he drives around in a car called Little Bandit, which is a 1968 Pontiac Firebird. But like, there's a scene in one of the episodes. I'm pretty sure I'm a Simpsons nerd. Apologies, everyone. I'm pretty sure the episode is called Separate Vocations. But anyway, there's an episode where Bart...
Write in and tell us if that's not
Tell
correct.
me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right. There's an episode where Snake is chasing after some cops and also Bart, and he's driving down an ever increasingly narrow alleyway, and eventually the car is just too wide to fit through the alleyway, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly the scene from Christine where Christine cuts the guy in half.
Mm-hmm.
Final reference: Radiohead, Karma Police, music video, car chasing a guy in the lights come on, he's chasing a guy down a road. That's the scene when he chases down the car's on fire and and chases down. It's everywhere. This blew my mind. This movie blew my mind because all of a sudden, all the things that I know in my life, they're actually references to things that happened earlier in the world, and it made me feel nostalgic, happy, sad, and like nothing matters.
I think it's okay to know about stuff because of The Simpsons, like the episode about where they do the Raven. I loved that so much that I then went and read loads of Edgar Allan Poe.
Nevermore.
Yeah. I also, talking of The Simpsons, I also was thinking constantly, it's a ghost car.
We get ghost cars here all the time. That's what good waffles do, sticking together. Anyway, continue.
Well, one of the references that our listeners may remember, do you remember back in season 1, so many years ago? It was actually just
1 year ago.
It was less than a year.
And I don't.
We talked about the film I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Equiddles.
Yes.
Equiddles.
In that episode, we had a discussion about
the car
moment where there's a car. And I said something really smart and interesting along the lines of, it's really cool because it's the fear of the unknown. You can't see who's driving the car or what's driving the car, so it's cool because it kind of, it makes you feel creeped out.
Yeah, cars in that.
What was I saying?
Yeah, smart cars.
And in that episode, I also referenced another film. It's from the 70s called Jewel.
Yes.
Which is about a lorry. And I think that one, I'll probably need to watch it again because it's been a while since I've seen it, but I feel like that one kind of got me more than this one did.
Yeah.
However, that is a much, much simpler film, and this has more kind of constructed around it. So, yes. Creepy cars.
Creepy cars.
They're everywhere. But I feel like this is kind of the one that does, this is a creepy car in a quite straightforward and iconic way that, as you say, is then seems to be referenced again
all the time. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? This is a coming of age movie. This is a teen movie. This is a movie about a guy who starts out as a nerd and evolves into a different person because of a love interest. In this movie, it happens to be an autonomous car that also is a murderer and also can self-heal. What do we think about cars that have their own mind? That the monster is a vehicle, and also just for reference, just to be clear, the car was driving itself when it murdered all those people, right?
Well, was it?
I never know it. Just between you and me, was it?
Was it?
Was it?
Was it?
Because to the end, he was in the car for a second, and then he got thrown out of the car, and then. But so in my head, I'm thinking, is this car magic? Is it just the dude's like in love with his car, and also he's a murderer, right? Most of the time, I'm thinking it's just the dude's in love with his car, and he's a murderer. But the car can heal itself through magic.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a thing that isn't real. So maybe he wasn't in the car. What do you think?
I think that there is evidence to support both theories.
That's
that it's
diplomatic.
the car that is, but I think that's the point of mystery films like this, is that there's like a really cool little moment where you just see the outline of him for just like a second, and you're like, wait, is he there? Is he him? I'd be really interested to find out a bit more about the practical effects on this film, but the way that they had the blacked out windows, and they are completely blacked out, so that for a large proportion of the car scenes you don't know if anyone's driving it or not. I do think that is part of the mystery. I kind of think that the implication was that it is just a supernatural car that has its own mind, particularly because he's trying to, the thing about how the car tries to communicate to both Arnie and Lee through the music
and other people. And
other people, and it's kind of that's the messages it's getting. But that's also really clever, because it's not like the car's like, opening its mouth. It's the hood. It's popping the hood, and it's got a mouth. And it's like, I hate you, Lieber.
Can you imagine?
It's just very subtle.
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes a good creepy story. It's like, is it my imagination? Is it just a trick of the eye, or is there really something there? Right. It's like when you go, like, you're late in the middle of the night, you kind of have to go downstairs to get a glass of water, and then you see something, you go, what's that? Because if you start to give the audience too much information, then it starts to become, it's like, well, this is implausible. This couldn't happen. But I think they do a good job of not giving you too much. I think they could have done even more so, but yeah.
It was the 80s,
Different time.
Can I tell you, I did some research, and I can tell you that practical effects wise, that they had 20 cars for this movie.
Wow. Right? Yeah, I did wonder how many cars there were, actually. Yeah.
So there's
of the same
make and model. Yeah. Same year, same make, same model, same cherry red. So it took them a while to find that many models of the car. They scoured the US basically for this car. The garage that they were using, that was the scene. Sorry, that was the set for the movie. It was what's his name? Who's the guy who died? Darnell's garage, right? Where the car was being stored and worked on or whatever. Half of that was set, and the other half was a garage. Was genuinely like a repair shop for the 20 Christines that they had.
Whoa.
And the special effects, and this is really cool. They used special, like, explosive servos inside a car that effectively like destroyed it from the inside, and they filmed it upside down and backwards.
Yeah.
So that it looked like the car was fixing itself, when in actual fact it was because of explosives crunching itself internally. And
there's definitely one I saw where it kind of crunched. I was like, that looks like
that looks reverse, right? But for what it's worth, 1983, okay, that was, and I know this well, 37 years ago, right? 38 years ago, actually, depending on when the movie came out. That was a long time ago. They did such a cool job that watching it yesterday, it looked like I stopped and went, that's computers, right? But it's practical effects, so well done,
So practical effects are very cool.
They're the best.
They're
the best kind of effects.
It's just to go back and reference another episode. I think it's the one where we did. What was the witch one with all the witches? The teen witches, not Sabrina, the other one.
The Craft.
The Craft, yeah. And I think I was
feathers,
talking about the snake hands, and I was saying like you should probably just use CGI kind of sparingly.
Yeah.
Because you can achieve so much with practical effects, but I think because special effects, visual effects are cheaper now, people tend to default to them. And you can do, obviously, now you can do anything.
Computers can do anything now.
I actually watch a YouTube channel, which is somebody explaining like cool practical effects techniques, because I find it really interesting.
That's a fun way to kill, some time.
Can I tell you another thing that I really liked about this film?
Tell me another thing you really liked. All right.
So the main character, the character who gets sort of enthralled by the car.
I was going to say, isn't the main character of this movie
guy who
Christine?
buys the car, is Arnie, played by a guy called Keith Gordon.
Right.
And I thought he was so brilliant. I
good.
absolutely loved
He was
his
good.
performance. Such a good horror villain. He goes from being this kind of shy, nerdy guy with a bit of a quippy sense of humor to this strange, suddenly confident guy to a jealous lover, essentially, to then this sort of pathetic thing who's sort of dependent on the car itself. But he was very, very good. I think he also kind of didn't really do a huge amount of acting after this
or before this,
but like I know that he did a couple of other like scary films and stuff, so yeah, but he was very good. And I think generally the characters worked pretty well. They weren't hugely fleshed out, particularly like Dennis is a footballer, but I guess that's, it's based on a book. It's difficult to translate sometimes from across mediums, but I felt they all worked together quite well. And I think the thing I love so much is the relationship between the car and Arnie. Like Christine, it's like a toxic relationship. She's a bad girlfriend, really, isn't she?
She's bad for you. She's murdering people for you.
But it did feel very real, and it did feel very reminiscent of a relationship between humans, I thought. So I think that was very good.
You know why? I mean, you referenced it before, but like the use of music in this movie was so awesome. Because Christine can't talk, right? You know why? She's a car. Cars don't talk, but cars have radios. So every time car murdered people, she played a song, and the song was always relevant to what was happening, right? And also just music from the 50s, which I thought was so awesome, right? And I think that not only if you listen to the soundtrack of Christine, you will find just hit after hit after hit of late 70s bangers, but also each one of them will tell a different story about when Christine was like, actually, no, you can't come in. Or, no, he's mine, right? / I'm going to choke you to death in this car. What an amazing choice. The book apparently starts with each chapter with a line from a song from the 50s. But your man, Mr. Carpenter, decided he would use that music as ways to give voice to an inanimate object. And I can't think of an example that anyone else has done that. Being a a guy who likes music, I thought pretty cool.
I wonder if doing that in another film would feel too on the nose, like to have a love scene and then have "I love you" playing in the background. But it does work because of the car is sort of quite dark and it's entertaining.
It's probably because it's the 50s, though, right? Like if it was the 80s, but like if it was like or present day or whatever, you can't have like a Kesha song, playing in the background to give you, deep and meaningful, or like a Jonas Brothers song telling you about the murderous car or whatever. If there's a song by the Jonas Brothers that also equals murder car, I'd like to hear it. But I'm pretty sure they just sing about 12-year-old girls and the way they feel about, the summer vacation or whatever, right? Take that, Jonas Brothers. Come at me, bro.
Yeah, they're all quite old now, so they're probably not singing about teenagers anymore.
Just between you and me, don't tell the listeners I asked you this. Hey, people who are listening, go have a bubble tea or whatever, right? Youth. What would be a today reference?
Well, JoJo Siwa is still like quite young, so she could be a young person thing.
She's that, like 16, JoJo Siwa. Or what's that band that everybody likes? K-pop band?
BTS.
Is it a BTS thing, right? All right. Rewind it, but then pretend I said something cool like, yo, what about BTS? They'd have a killer car song. And also
Justin Bieber. He's married.
He's like my age practically too, you know?
Yeah.
Listen, do you remember, here's what I knew I was old. When I found out that Billie Eilish was a Justin Bieber fan when she was 12. And she wrote that song, Bad Boy, Bad Guy, about when she was a kid dreaming about being friends with Justin Bieber, who was a grown-up when she was a kid, who when I was a grown-up was a kid. Does that make sense to you?
No, because I also was a Justin Bieber fan when I was younger, so
I'm a bad kid, something like a bad kid. Da.
Your knowledge of that song is kind of like we're sitting at like a solid sort of 45%.
Duh.
Okay.
Vroom, vroom. You know what that means. It's time to get on social media to like @Plot Twisters Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. What do you mean I didn't talk about cars? I did talk about cars. Vroom, vroom.
Great news. They are going to remake this
I
film.
know, I read that. They're remaking it right now.
I'm so happy about that. I'm not a fan of remakes, but I will be very excited to see the remake of this because I feel like with the knowledge that we have now of filmmaking and script writing and all of that, and the way that this film has sort of like dissipated throughout culture, I have high hopes. You better do a good job, people making the film, Christine.
Are they going to make the car from like a car from the 80s or something? Like
it'll be a Ford.
Is it like, going to be is it going to be a Toyota is it going to be a Toyota Tercel?
A Kia.
Right? A Kia Sorento or some sort of a, some terrible, is it a Honda Civic?
A smart car.
Is that what it is?
Car.
Is it a proto? Is it one of the first smart vehicles? Is it going to be
a self-driving car?
Hey, Emma, how much do you know about cars? 100% or not percent?
It's a great film. Probably one of my favorite Pixar movies.
How much do you know about cars, too? Am I right?
Not as good.
In your words, from a text message conversation we had many months ago, I believe you said something like, Cars 2? You mean the movie where they focus on the worst character ever? The whole movie?
Yeah.
Why would you make a terrible trash movie about a terrible trash character called Mater? And you know what? You were right. Cars 2? Hey, Pixar, you've had a home run streak, but you whiffed it on Cars 2.
Being friends with me is signing up for a lifetime of like unsolicited random movie opinions about a film that I happen to be watching.
Yeah.
Just constantly.
This is how we communicate.
Hey, what are you up to? I'm watching Jaws, and this is what I think about it.
Listen, I would sign up to that mailing list even if it cost me money. Which, just to check, our friendship doesn't cost a thing, right? I don't have some weird bill that I've racked up over time.
Thank you for subscribing to Cat Facts. Please text opt out for no more cat facts. Did you know that cat fact? I can't think of a good cat fact. So self-driving cars.
Yes.
Let's get freaky with some self-driving cars.
Okay. What I want is this. I want self-driving, I want self-motivated, and I want self-healing. If any of those three things are not included in this car, I'm out. And more importantly, the car will not survive. And I didn't Google it because quite frankly, I was too scared. But is there a sequel to Christine?
I don't think so.
Smash it up, boys. It'll come back to life. Drive it down an alleyway that's too narrow. It'll come back to life. Catch it on fire. No problem. It'll self-heal. Squish it into a brick. Then it's gone forever?
Question mark. Yeah, what you show it recovering again and again and again, and then it's like, oh, we've defeated and we've won. Does it come back? Who knows? Should we actually try and predict some of the stuff that they might include in the remake of this film so we can then revisit it in the future and assess how right we were?
Okay, they're going to do one of two things. If it were a sequel, the car would be in the impound lot and, in the junkyard, and then all of a sudden it kind of goes, actually, right, I'm back, baby. And it would be like, it's the 90s or whatever, so it would be like, I don't know, like a Backstreet Boys song or whatever. If it's a remake,
Christine's back. All right.
Oh my God, I'm back again. Bam, bam, right. Am I a car?
Yeah.
Was I crushed by cars?
Yeah. It's the lag.
Any of that good Steven Spielberg?
I think that in the remake, they're going to make some kind of knowing wink to the fact that it's a remake. That's my bet.
Okay. So
they're going to say something like, I don't know, the old film will be playing on the TV or something, or someone's going to, like, you know, in the She's All That / He's All That remake where Rachel A. Cook said, oh, I love this song, To Kiss Me. It's going to be something like that. That's my prediction.
Do you think that maybe there will be, it's modern day, and the car company that originally made Christine, they're doing some sort of like a retro, like it's a design that is inspired by the retro version. And we're seeing this all the time, right? So like classic design, it comes back into modern form. So maybe they're making an electric car, but it's modeled after a 50s design. And they pump out a bunch of beige ones, but they go limited edition. There's only one that's been made. And if you win this contest on Instagram,
oh yeah,
you win the cherry red retro 57 all electric, new Chrysler, Vampire, whatever it was. What was the car called?
Plymouth Fury.
It's a Plymouth Fury, right? But now it's called like the Plymouth, I don't know, it's modern. So Fury feels a little bit, aggressive, and that doesn't feel right. So it's probably like the Plymouth Conversation, right? But it's
the
evil.
Plymouth social media.
It's the Plymouth social media, as sponsored by Sprite and Facebook and Netflix, and they've all come together to make this social media campaign where if you like and subscribe and also share with 10 of your friends, you'll be entered into a contest, no obligation, to win the new car. One kid who happens to be a nerd wins the car. That's the remake. The beginning of the remake, anyway.
So social media, some kind of knowing wink to the previous version.
Yep.
Potentially the same car is going to be there, but it might be like refitted, retrofitted. What's the word? Like it's, it's got like, it's electric now. It runs on vegetable oil.
It's electric. But also, here's what I'm thinking. There's a point where references become disgusting because there's too many of them, right? And also in bad taste. So I'm going to pitch you a reference that may be disgusting and in bad taste, but I need to pitch it for the beginning of this movie. Is that okay?
Okay.
Do you remember in the beginning of the movie Christine from 1983 where the guy's like on the assembly line and he's like, I'm just going to check the engine of this car or whatever, and then he lifts the hood and his hand is on the edge of the hood, and then he's like checking the thing, and then the hood comes down and it cuts his hand off, and it's terrifying and terrible, and I'll never be able to sleep ever again. So here's the thing. What if, and again, this could be a bad idea, but what if the guy is a human who happens to have a prosthetic hand, and then the hood comes down and it cuts his hand off, but it's a prosthetic hand, and he goes, lucky this was my prosthetic hand. And then he puts it back together. But his hand is electric because it's the future, and the hand has now been cursed by an electric curse from the cursed car.
And then it's the movie Idle Hands.
And then it chokes him like the movie Idle Hands. And that's just the first 5 minutes. That's my pitch. Right?
I think definitely there'll be some kind of, because I think one of the things about classic horrors is that they set the standards that other films then subvert.
Correct.
So it's like you need to have some kind of, like, what the second you see the guy put his hand on the hood of the car, that hand is getting mangled.
It's getting cut off.
So there has to be, you can't just do that again. There has to be knowing references to the things that happened in this film.
Maybe an alarm goes off on his watch, his smartwatch, and he quickly pulls his hand away to check
Yeah.
it, and then the hood comes down and it doesn't cut his hand off.
And Christine's like, "Oh damn!"
Oh, and then and then Britney
face comes
Spears,
up in her
Britney
radio.
Spears on the radio goes, "Oops, I did it again." Right, right. But you didn't, because you didn't cut the hand off. I'm into
There
it.
definitely could be. There could definitely be a really good parody version of this film with the song thing.
Yeah,
being really silly.
yeah.
Oh, for
Look,
sure.
we're getting
Surely
in the
someone's
weeds.
done
We're,
that.
we're getting in the. They have, and they will, or they will. What if we are able to answer the question definitively? Was the young man in the car, or is the car evil itself? I'd like to be inside the car, POV, and there's nobody in the car, right? And I'd also like to be able to, cars are smart these days, and they have like they're computers that control them, right? I'd really like some sort of a actual dialogue with the car. It's voice recognition. Maybe there's a voice thing in there, and the kid can be like, "Christine, do you love me?" And Christine's like, "You know it. You know it. You know I love you," right? There should be some dialogue between the car and the human in the car, and also the car should say at some point, "By the way, I'm going to go and murder some people. You cool with that? You're not? I might murder you because I'm a murder car."
Yeah.
I don't know. Cars are a bit. This is out of my depth. I'm not like a car guy, I don't have a car. Do you have a car?
I have a car, yes.
Are you in love with your car to the point where you would allow it to murder people?
No. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Me and my car have a kind of mutual sort of
Disrespect.
chill.
Okay, fine.
You don't mess with me, I won't mess with you, okay? I would like to see another car. It's also like the there's like the anti-Christine car. There's the good car.
The good car. all right, let's do it.
Lightning McQueen comes in.
Lightning McQueen comes in. Jeez, okay.
Christine, and the good car is called Melanie. And Melanie is like a blue car, and the blue car comes in and faces off against the red car. How does that sound to you?
It sounds great. It sounds like it's the piece that's missing to this puzzle forever. I have some follow-up questions. Who owns the blue car, and why did it show up, and why does it have anything to do with Christine?
Well, there's the old guy from Home Alone and his brother, right? And the brother is the one who originally owns Christine, and he falls in love with it and then has a dark end. So what if the brother, the Home Alone guy, also has a car, but he doesn't say anything about it until the last minute because he's like, "Oh no, the same thing's happening again." Also, how irresponsible of that guy to sell Christine to a kid when he knows that the car's bad, because he clearly knows.
Yeah.
What? Maybe he thinks that it was more about his brother than about the car. Maybe he doesn't think but he does. He does. He knows the car. Anyway, he's a bad
Home Alone
anyway.
guy.
So he's got a car too. In our version, he's got a car which he's made something. He's like modified the car so that it has its. That's the self-driving car.
No. I've got it. Can I take the ball and run with it? Right.
Sure.
Two brothers, both buy a brand new car on their 18th birthday. They're twins. Okay. One is the evil twin and one is the good twin. Okay. The evil twin buys the red car because red is evil, I guess. And the good brother buys the sensible blue car, and he's the good, twin. Both the cars are the same car, baby. Right? Both the cars are off the same production line. They're the same car, except they take them home and they live together because they're twins, and that's very adorable. One of them waxes the car with like wax that he found at a graveyard, and it turns out to be haunted wax, right? And the other rubs angel wax on the car, and so it makes it good, because cars are good or evil because of the wax you use, and it's cursed from the devil. And then at the end of the movie, when the good brother realizes that it's evil and that the car's killing people, he convinces his brother, because they love each other, to wax the car with the good wax, And then when he waxes the car with the good wax, it turns blue and goes and then honks its horn. And then on the radio, the song, it's like, I'm good now, I'm fine now, I'm not evil. And then there's just two blue cars that are fine. It's a bit boring, but in the end of the day, isn't that what you want?
No, but fine. I'm fine with that. It definitely makes the film a bit tamer, but hey, why not?
It's vanilla.
We'll have two versions of the film. We're gonna have a high body count version and a zero body count version.
Yeah, zero. I like
and
zero.
that should be the same for every film, right? You should have the dark version and the happy jolly version.
Hey,
of
can I entice you with this? The zero body count version is 37 minutes long, and you get to bed early. Okay.
And it's actually just one of those like YouTube ASMR videos of a car like peacefully driving along a highway, playing a nice song, and there's rain.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. Okay. Lovely.
Oh, lovely.
Well
lovely
then,
stuff. Yeah, well
lovely
done.
stuff.
Good.
So all that remains is I'd really love to know for the film Christine, the car one, how many tinfoil wrapped hamburgers, I'm pretty sure they were hamburgers, out of 5 would you give this film, Anders?
Like 4, I guess. It's probably 4. Hey, you know why it's a 4? I've never heard of this movie before. It's pretty freaking good. If anyone said, hey, what Stephen King movies do you like? I'd say probably none of them, because they're all terrifying. And I've seen Pet Sematary and it was terrifying, right? But I liked Christine. It was pretty good. I'd give it a 4. What about you?
I also am going to give it a 4. And I'm not copying you. I didn't think that anyway.
No. Copycat over here. 4. That's convenient.
I don't know. I'm very flexible with my rating system, I think I've learned. Sometimes I'll get really hung up on some annoying thing, and then I'll be like, no, it's a 1 because I hated this one thing. And then other times I'll be like, well, overall. But I think for kind of the same reason, I feel like it lived up to my expectations. There was some stuff I had a problem with, but overall, it's a great idea, isn't it? It's just a great idea. Well, Anders, it's been fun recording this episode with you. However, I just want to let you know that in the future, you really got to watch what you say about my car, because she is real sensitive, so just keep a little bit, all right?
I'm sorry. I just thought maybe cherry red wasn't a very good color on you. Jeez.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Plot Twisters.
Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts if you have the time.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Christine's back. All right.
Oh my God, I'm back again. Bam, bam, right.